you saw right up on the wall, pastor. You saw it written there. It stayed there on the wall, pastor. So you want me to be a pastor, Lord?
And it was really hard for him to receive that because he's the shyest one of all my kids.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
And so he came to me and he said, Paul, would you please, God's spoken to me, but I want you to confirm by the Holy Spirit. So would you please tell me what God did say to me? So I fasted and prayed. And I said, God, what do you want my son to be? And the Lord spoke to me, he could either be a pastor or a doctor. And so I told David that. He said, oh, that was just so thrilling to feel like the Lord thought he had enough brains to be a doctor. He didn't want to be a doctor, but he thought he was excited to see that God thought he could be a doctor if he wanted. But our third category that we wanted to talk about is how important it is to include children in the ministry. Because when we first got to Guatemala and got our first exposure to missionaries on the field and started getting history from different Wycliffe Bible Translator missionaries that told us about our children this or that, we noticed that many of them never included their children in the ministry. And those kids felt cut off and they didn't feel connected with their parents, and a lot of them would not stick around. And some of them, didn't even walk with the Lord.
Couldn't wait to leave,
Yeah, to get out of Guatemala.
But the ones that included them, they were happy to be there, and we even knew some second generation missionaries.
Do you think, I'm just, do you mind if I talk?
Okay, no, that's what you want.
Do you think some of that has to do with the schooling? Like when you guys first became missionaries, it was not popular to homeschool. It was popular to send your kids to boarding school. Yeah. And so therefore the kids were in one environment and the parents were doing ministry, and so they were very separated. Whereas with the homeschooling opportunities that that you guys have pioneered and that some of us continue, we can have our kids with us more.
Yeah, that's made a big difference.
Definitely. But also, we've taken our kids on team things and used them as translators.
Yeah, like in Guatemala, my job was to make movies in Mayan Indian languages, and so I would go out to the field oftentimes and live for a week in a setting to shoot the movie. And I would always take one of my sons or daughters, always, to be a helper, and they just felt totally a part of it. And even when I would get into the studio and start editing and let them sit down and see what we shot and help put the movie together, so that they really owned it. And then we started working as a family to do music together, and then to do dramas together. And and every time that I would come home on furlough, or had a stateside assignment for 3 years in Pennsylvania, every time I took a team, I would always try to raise enough support to take one of the guys with me. Or at one point, I remember we got some extra funds when we were in Australia, and so we sent David and Hannah on a mission with Missionary Ventures to Uganda. That was life-changing. Hannah came back just so confident as a speaker, just as unbelievable. And David was just really transformed he became a man from that trip. And she took Noah to Burma, and that really touched his life deeply too.
Well, in both cases, they saw a lot of healings, which was really wonderful for them. In Uganda, they were asked to go into this hospital and pray for the patients. They didn't feel qualified to go into the hospital and pray for the patients. They were normal kids.